Welcome, everyone. I am Siva. I am the founder of Automate Everything community on LinkedIn, and we also have a Discord group and a website. What we are a group of technologists who are experts or who have a lot of expertise in software engineering, software development, test automation, DevOps, user experience design, and whatnot, and product management, and also people management. We are a group of like I would say 90 members strong. The agenda for today is just an open table. We have this stream going on to open up our schedule and time for folks who might have questions or who have uh, solved the problem technically or otherwise at their work, and then they would like to share that with the larger community. That is the intent of today's meeting. We have one participant today, Pixie. Thank you so much for joining. From what I heard, he's a college student and he's looking to break into the realm of technology and technical work, and that's exactly what this community is for students and people who are starting out in technology to reach out to us. That way we can help you provide some guidance on what's going to be the next steps in terms of how you can break in, and resources you could take advantage of and things like that. uh, Oh, sorry. Pixie just said on the chat that he's a recent grad and he's a software engineer with 1 year experience. So great, great. And thank you so much again, Pixie, for joining. That being said, why don't you start with a brief intro and then the question you have, and then we can just take it organically from there. Over to you, Pixie. You still there? Hello? You still there, Pixie? I don't see your. Okay, you don't have any specific questions. Great. All right, so I'm just going to do a brief talk on the idea of this community and why this LinkedIn community came together and what the purpose is, and then maybe talk on one topic that I've been working on recently. That way, if it's of any help to anybody, then great. So, like I said, I think during lockdown, the reason we started this community was during lockdown. I got hit up on by folks on LinkedIn who kind of like looked up my blog posts and the technical content I share. Um, Give me 1 second. There is a technical problem. Looks like I. Um, all right, so just going back to the topic, we started this because we wanted to um, use our time for the community's benefit, kind of like pay it forward kind of a mentality. So initially when we started, it was like a group of 3 or 4 people, and we would just do blog posts and like video recordings and whatnot. uh, Slowly it started gaining momentum, and we had at one point a website which had a link to our Discord community, and we just felt that it was more of the same thing between Discord and LinkedIn. So we are more active on LinkedIn these days. We do have a page for Automate Everything, which I think I could share if I can do a screen share. um, Let me share my screen and let me go to .com. Um, 1 second. There's another participant who joined. Um, hey, Grace, thanks for joining. I'm just going over, like I have no agenda today. It's just going to be a open Q&A session. And I'm just going over giving context on, why this group was started. So like I was saying earlier in the call, we started this group to help out new grads and folks who are trying to, break into the industry in different realms, like, software engineering, cybersecurity, DevOps, and things like that. And also at the same time, people like me who've been in the industry for a little bit, we are at the crossroads of technology and management. Do we want to go into people management, product management, and things like that? So this group essentially is like, you once you go to LinkedIn and look us up, Automate Everything, and then if you look at the people here, you would see a wide variety of folks, like Ayush, who's recently joined. He's a VP for big data. And you could see product managers, you could see people managers, you could see thought leaders and technical leaders and people leaders. So there's a good combination of folks who are trying to help. There's a good combination of folks who have the time to answer questions. If you're blocked on something in your day-to-day job, if you're not familiar with the problem that you have been assigned to, overwhelmed with the sense of, hey, I need to get this done, but not really sure about next steps. And there's of course, like, experts and folks in your own company, but there might be multiple reasons why you're not able to reach out to them. So in case you would have to reach out to the wider community and open source, definitely hit us up. Like I said, we are very active on LinkedIn. You can DM me on LinkedIn, or I can also share my Twitter details. I'm on Twitter as well, pretty active there. Um, I also have a Substack post called Siva. It's been a while since I did a post on that, but let me just see. I think it's Siva Sundaresan at substack.com, maybe. No, not the one. What is my Substack? Writer dashboard. Okay, ssundaresan.substack.com. So that is the Substack that I have. I do write technical content on my Substack. You can reach out to me on Substack as well. Uh, that being said, just take advantage of the fact that we have a lot of folks who are like-minded and would like to pay it forward and help the community. So if you have any questions, reach out to us. If you're trying for a solution, or if you just want a gut check or a feedback on something you're working on, we're more than happy to provide that as well. Um, I don't have any open topics. I have something in mind that I would like to briefly talk about, something I've been working on. But that being said, Grace just joined us, so I would like to check if she has a question or a topic that she would like to discuss, and then I can do my spiel like for a quick 5 minute, and then we can probably call it done. Hey, Grace, did you have like a topic or question in mind? I think you're muted, Grace. And Pixie, I saw your message. It looks like I did not mute you, so you might have to wait. Did I mute everyone? I just unmuted everybody again, but that's weird. Would you mind adding your question on the chat? I'm not sure why I'm not able to unmute everybody. I'm unmuting everybody and all muted, and now it's, I don't know. So, would you mind adding your question or comment on chat if you have any? Okay, sounds good, Pixie. If you're going to rejoin, go ahead. All right. So if there's no specific topic, I would probably like to talk about a couple of things at a very high level. One is, as we are moving towards, more and more requirements and more features of our product, there are so many different stakeholders, right? Like you have the product manager or the product owner who's trying to come up with market research and try and set a roadmap or set a course for where the how the product is going to evolve. And then you obviously have your architect who is going to liaison with the product owner and trying to understand what the requirements are, and then come up with a feasible technical path for realizing the vision. And then once the architect is trying, it has the requirements kind of like laid down in whatever PRD, or like Jira tickets, or like your wiki documents or whatever, then the engineering team comes in, which does the implementation, right? A very critical thing that I've seen, it's part of very highly successful teams, and a pitfall that where teams can when they miss it, is actually uh, course corrections and feedback loops. Let me explain. When we are trying to develop a product, I mean, pretty much every development shop is agile these days. But then the notion of fail fast, meaning you try and develop something. You're trying to solve a problem. At the end of the day, you're not necessarily married to the tools or set to stone in terms of the way you want to do it. You would always have to look out for what's the best way, because that keeps changing, right, with technology changing at the rapid pace that it is. So you always have to be on the lookout for what's a better way to do what you're trying to accomplish. And at the same time, you should also be brave enough to fail fast, meaning you're going to try an approach. If it works, great. If not, oh, Pixie says I should rejoin. Let me try that in a minute, Pixie. So if not, uh, if you don't have a feedback loop established where you don't empower the different stakeholders, like your just an example, your engineers from the engineering team, your SDETs or test engineers, and your maybe your support. Like if you don't have a feedback loop established with these different channels, then you could technically tunnel vision yourself into realizing what you think the requirement is and what you perceive the customer would want, but not necessarily taking an input from all the concerned stakeholders. Because at the end of the day, in an effort, it's the estates who are, or the test engineers who are your first customers, right? Because they would be validating the product if it's being developed to the specification, and your support is the vertical that's going to be day in and day out liaison with the customers in case there are going to be issues. So they are your primary, um, primary beta testers, so to speak, if I may say that. And it's very, very critical that you have a feedback loop established with the with these two stakeholders. And going back to my another previous point, which was fail fast, is we need to ensure that the engineering team is empowered to try and attempt different solutions. That way they can make an educated decision of which path is the best path going forward. The reason is, um, if the um, relationship between, let's say, architecture and engineering is prescriptive, meaning the architecture team makes some recommendations, but they want you to follow that to the T, then I've seen that those teams are not very successful. The reason being, for there could be multiple different reasons why the implementation team or the engineering team is not either comfortable or familiar with the recommendations from the architecture. So, like I said, in all different aspects of software engineering, the feedback loop is highly critical. And the second thing that I would like to briefly touch upon is the power of why. Like very often when we are working in the industry, we might have we obviously have deadlines, which means the different stakeholders would push us towards a specific deadline. I personally think the really successful companies out there, your Amazons, your Apples, and whatnot, there is a reason why they are highly successful, is because they're obsessed with customer satisfaction, right? So the one and only thing that should matter is what you're working on should either improve the customer experience, or you're adding a completely new feature which you would think would be a game changer for the customer. That and that there should be the um, uh, only metric or yardstick with which teams will have to iterate on products. Because the really successful companies out there who have done it time and again have shown us that if you take customer satisfaction as your core tenet, or if you're really obsessed about customer satisfaction, the success, top and bottom line, would happen as a consequence of your principle, right? Of you becoming obsessive with customer satisfaction. So that's another thing. When people try and push you into deadlines and whatnot, always keep in mind that you are empowered to ask the question why. Like why is that date important? Why can't I take another day to test it? Why can't I take another day to develop it, right? Because at the end of the day, you would want to release stable software. It's not like we are doing chip fabrication or something like that, where error can be really costly when you're at the fabrication step or to the tape out step, as they say, when you get the actual silicon and the chip is laid down. Like you can't afford to have changes there. But in software engineering, we are lucky in the sense that even until the last minute when we do a production deploy, we have the ability to, not that I'm saying it's the right way, but we do have the ability to change code. So I would highly suggest that and recommend that when you think things are when corners are being cut, when due process is not followed. One, if there is no due process, be the advocate and set some expectations and put that in paper. That way, it's very black and white in terms of what the team is shooting for, and in terms of when issues arise, it's very clear for us to go back to our set expectations to try and understand and improve the process. Right, at the end of the day, we're all trying to do, like, collective work in shipping software. And as they say, blameless root cause analysis or blameless postmortems are the only way you would improve, because you need to have a critical eye on the way you're doing things and what you're trying to achieve. And if you don't have a feedback loop established, and if you don't have the habit of asking why, then you're always going to be at the mercy of somebody else who's going to set your agenda, and you would not be very effective in your role. So that's the first topic I want to cover. I'm going to take a pause right now just to see if either Pixie or Grace have some thoughts on what we just spoke about. If either of you have some thoughts or like you experience, please do share it on chat. If not, I'm going to give a minute and really briefly touch on the second topic I would like to talk about. All right, so it looks like there's no questions. The second topic I would like to talk about is something that's near and dear to my heart. Uh, Sweet. No worries, Pixie. You're welcome. The second topic that I would like to talk about, which is near and dear to my heart, is the quality of a product, right? And I've also written a blog. It's not a shameless plug. I'm just saying that I showed you the Substack. You can go and look at a blog post called "Who's Responsible for a Production Bug." It's not. Let me just share my screen real quick on that. I should have it somewhere. Yep, this one. Who's responsible for production bug? The idea of it is, you know, uh, quality is a shared mission, right? There's no one single team who's going to be responsible for quality. Like me, when I started my career, I was a software engineer, and then I moved to software developer and test, and then I moved into performance engineering, and then I moved into system architecture. So I've been fortunate enough to have the opportunity to work on these different in different capacities in different realms. Like I started off with e-commerce, then I moved to cloud computing. I was there for about 6 years for a major cloud computing player, and then then I moved to infosec and security, and this is my third security opportunity in the last 6 years. So I've been with three security companies. Um, uh, but the bottom line is, I would never consider myself smart, but I've just been fortunate enough to work in these different domains to try and understand patterns in engineering problems. So quality, time and again, there is a notion in our industry that software testers or SDETs or automation engineers are the one who has to be the advocate of quality. I cannot disagree more with that kind of a sentiment, because quality, in my opinion, should be a shared mission. And everyone on the software development life cycle, be it your product manager with whom everything starts, like what are they trying to accomplish in terms of this new software or in terms of this change to an existing software, right? Like have they done their market research? Have they laid down their requirements clearly in terms of without any ambiguity in terms of your Jira stories or your wiki documents or whatever? Then comes your technical architect, who would then look at the feasibility of how are we going to realize the vision? What are the roadblocks? How is this going to fit in terms of your wider context of the product offerings and capabilities at that company? Is it going to be something net new, or is that something that can be built on top of something that the other team has done? Things like that will have to be uh, 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 you know the time has to be due time has to be given for those kind of research and like feedback loops. Only then, when the engineering team kind of like picks up the bunch of stories or backlogs or whatever you want to call it, things are not ambiguous. They are more black and white. And you can be the product manager in this whole equation, you can be the architect, you could be the lead engineer, you can be the new engineer in the team, or you could be the new test engineer, whatever your role might be. In my opinion, you should always look out for, do we have a due process, due quality checks or quality gates in these different phases of software development lifecycle, be it your requirements gathering, technical feasibility, story breakdown, how you write your user stories and things like that. Are there unit tests being done? Are you just focusing on your um, integration testing, or just your high level smoke test? What kind of testing gates you have? Do you have performance metrics? Do you have your static analysis being done on your source code? Do you have your code deployed in a CI fashion? Can you isolate your code into different components in case you have to do some troubleshooting? Do you have like distributed logging? What kind of monitoring you have in place? So there's like a top level, like if you just do a Google search on software quality checklist or whatever, you would see that it's not just testing, right? It starts right from the way you lay down requirements all the way up until how would you monitor a production deployed software. So I would highly encourage the folks on the call, and also who's going to listen to this later on YouTube or any other medium, to take a pause and understand that quality is not just, if you're not a test engineer, quality is definitely something that you could take part in, you should take an active role in, and it's definitely a shared mission. So that is my soapbox for the day. uh, I think I'm done, unless we have any questions. Maybe we can call a wrap to the stream. Thank you so much, Pixie and Grace, for joining. Do you all have any questions right now? Okay, I do see a question on chat. The question I see is, what is a high level smoke test? Is it something like no testing or just working code? That's a great question, Pixie. So, smoke test, I think the reason it's called smoke test, the context to it is, back in the day when cities were being planned, you would lay down plumbing for, like your gas or your water or your the waste and all that, right? So when people wanted to test if plump if those pipes are being laid okay or not, what they would essentially do is they would burn some hay and toss it into those pipes. And if the pipes are okay and solid and are of good quality, then you would not see any smokes, because if there were cracks on the pipes or whatever, you would see smokes seeping through that. So a smoke test, in its core, is a quick feedback, or a quick feedback mechanism for when you deploy a software, or when you make a change to an existing code base, to see if you've broken any of the top or critical functionality of your application. So people might use it in different contexts, but the at the end of the day, a high level summary would be, you are trying to target the most critical components of your application, and when you do a change, that is an existing feature being modified into something else, or a new feature being released, or a release to production, right? Like when there's a delta, meaning the current state is changing to something different, you run these smoke tests just to get a quick feedback on, have I broken any of the mission critical workflows in my application? That's smoke test. I hope that answers your question. Do you have any other question, Pixie? That is awesome. That is awesome. Do more, do it more often, and do advocate that to folks who are not doing it, because definitely, like, test automation needs to be there as part of every project, in my opinion. So, if that's not being done in today's day and age, it's almost criminal. So, doesn't matter if you're a developer or an engineer or an architect or whatever, you know, we need to always um, advocate testing, uh, rapid, dependable testing, and there are a lot of different techniques to it, right? Like, you could parallelize your testing. You can make sure that you run it on different browsers if it's a UI application. You could make sure that you do isolation, dependency isolation, in terms of like um, marking and whatnot. So there's a lot of different things you could do. But first and foremost, the team needs to have some kind of notion about testing, and We need to view that as a collective effort of every stakeholder, every participant in the SDLC lifecycle, and it's not just the testers. Sweet. I just saw your comment. You are pretty much everything in your startup. That is awesome. That is the only way you will learn. And trust me, I think the jobs where I have learned immensely are the ones where I was just open to doing all the roles, like development, testing, DevOps, performance, security, and all that stuff. So that's the only way you're going to learn. That's awesome that you got the opportunity. Godspeed. All power to you. Any other question, Grace or Pixie? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much both for joining, and I'm going to share this recording on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if anybody on the recording, if you have any questions, do reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter, or drop a comment on the YouTube stream. Thank you all. I'll see you all on the next Tech Talk. Have a nice day. Bye now.